Hello dear listener, it is time for the VR Shiz show once again. We got a grand old time for yat. Enjoy what you got right here, right now with your favorite podcast hosts named Richard and Vince.
It is that time of the week. It is time for the VR Shiz show.
I'm Vince.
I'm Richard, and I don't know what else I can say to segue into anything right now. I was like trying to think of a creative
I thought the same
introduction.
thing, and I couldn't think of anything, so it's fine.
We're both just brain dead at the moment, just like there are no thoughts going in.
I think that's just me all times, but yes.
See, it's because we planned this one so much further in advance, like prepping, that we don't know what to actually do that since we've prepared.
Yeah, we thought so much on the actual topic at hand, and we were ready for the topic that we were ready for nothing else for that.
See, that's why we gotta never prepare anything, because then we're just constantly going at it.
Look, I don't mind preparation or non-preparation, as long as we never become a true crime podcast, then I know that we're okay. Because that's the most generic way we can go.
Oh, gosh.
Just saying.
I don't know how we'd even, slowly make our way into true crime. That would just be one sharp descent, alright guys, this episode we're doing true crime. There wouldn't be any transition, it'd just be that.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious. But do you want to start off with media consumed, or do you want me to?
Media consumed.
I think I can start us off.
Cool beans.
So, I had to think about it a while because I couldn't even remember when I did. But I do remember I went and a little while ago I bought Bush's iconic record of the 16 Stone. Or I think it's just it's just 16 Stone. There's no the. But 16 Stone, it's their debut album, and it is fantastic. So Bush, because I was trying to get the wiki pulled up to have to reference.
Yeah, a bit to talk about.
And in Googling Bush, I mentioned that I get a lot of other results because I'm like, oh yeah, the U.S. has had 2 presidents named Bush.
Yep.
There's the plant.
Yep.
Apparently, while this Bush is an English band, there's also a Canadian band called Bush. So I'm just competing with all of that to find what I was looking for. And I'm like, oh yeah, should probably narrow down Bush to the English
Which Bush
band.
are you referring to?
Yeah. So found them. So they are post-grunge. Now, Vince, do you know what grunge is?
I couldn't explain it to you, but I think if I listened to it, I could tell you what it was.
So you know, any bands in the genre of grunge?
I probably do.
Easiest one is Nirvana.
Okay, I was going to say Nirvana, but I didn't know if that was going to be insulting or not, because I know they're basically elementary school guide to grunge. That's all I know about Nirvana.
Yeah. So, grunge, Big Four of grunge is all of the sub-pop bands in Seattle, basically. So you have Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Nirvana. That's kind of all the grunge bands.
Okay, I've actually listened to all 3 of those, so I could have answered that question if I had thought longer than 5
And then
seconds.
I think Stone Temple Pilots counts as the 4th. No, Mudhoney. Mudhoney is the other one.
I don't know who that is.
Mudhoney is the least popular of them.
That's probably why.
4. But anyway, so that's grunge. Post-grunge is basically, what if we made grunge more appealing for the masses and not as abrasive as it could possibly be?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what post-grunge is. So you get bands like Collective Soul, and everyone knows Collective Soul because they did the song Shine, which has been memed to death for any number of reasons. Aside from Collective Soul, again, there's Bush, which is kind of the big band in post-grunge, although they kind of delve into regular grunge as well. But anyway, back to the album itself. Listen to that, and it is fantastic. I love it. It was just kind of a revisit of the album. It's very heavy, very abrasive, leaning more towards grunge than post-grunge. Glycerine uses cello to fantastic effect, which you don't get in anywhere in rock, really. Mm-hmm. But even then, the lyrics just hit hard. and they're a band that I actually care to pay attention to the lyrics to. But their song Monkey, ooh, Monkey, 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 Monkey. It's a fantastic song. Highly, highly recommend that. But as many people who know Bush already know this, but considering that's a very small pool of people who know about the band Bush, the founder and lead singer, guitarist, all that good stuff, main dude, frontman, any other word you can think of to say he's the big guy of Bush, Gavin Rossdale, for, I believe, 13 years. Let's see if I click on his wiki. 13 years. 14 years. 14, I was close. He was married to Gwen Stefani for 14 years.
Who's she married to now?
The country guy.
His name escapes me. I know who it is. I just can't.
Let's see. Blake Shelton.
There we go.
That's the one. But yeah. Well, no, she's not married to him. She's just engaged.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Gwen Stefani's kind of garbage right now. She just keeps getting surgery and plastic surgery, and I'm like, you look fine. Now you just kind of look.
She's a beautiful woman. I don't know what happened.
And then she decided, I need to keep this and not age at all. Except now you look like a gross thing.
Hopefully she'll never listen to this.
I don't know. I mean, technically she went to school locally. And my dad went to school with her brother. Mm-hmm. Said she was really annoying, and I'm like, yeah, I believe that. But yeah, Gavin Rossdale, fantastic, fantastic artist. Go listen to Bush and 16 Stone. I mean, it's just song after song after song on the album. Everything Zen, Glycerine, Come Down, Machine Head. Good stuff. Apparently they have a new album that came out last year called The Kingdom, but all I know is 16 Stone, which Spotify lists as 2014, but that is not true. That's like 1992. Yeah, 1992. That is not... Or 94. 92 is in the band form. Yeah. So I have no idea of why Spotify listed it 2014. But good stuff. I really had to grasp at straws to remember that I even listened to it. So
yeah,
that's
here.
All that I've done, considering work and everything else has dominated my life over the past. That's why I have nothing to record, because we recorded last Thursday, so I haven't had like time to do anything in between then and now.
Yeah, that's right. We were supposed to record Monday, we couldn't because you weren't feeling well. Tuesday, I wasn't feeling well. Wednesday, we were both busy, and then Thursday, we were both like, we got to.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense, actually.
All right. And then I'll pass the torch to you for your media consumed.
Cool. So I had already talked about it the week before, but obviously this is not coming out next week. I went to go watch Demon Slayer Mugen Train. Yeah. I'm not saying the whole name because the whole name is super duper long. It is... I watched it twice. I watched it once in the Japanese, once in the English.
Yeah, I asked Brian, like, hey, where you guys? We're like, oh, we're watching Demon Slayer. I'm like, didn't you just? He's like, yeah. Yeah.
But we have to watch one and one. And then I'm going to watch it this Friday again with my dad this time.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it was
Given
great.
How many times you intend to watch it, I would imagine it's good.
It was fantastic. The visuals are absolutely insane.
Yeah.
The animation is super freaking smooth. Like, you can tell that, like, hey, this is a movie. Hey, we want to make a lot of money. Okay, yeah, let's just throw money at the screen and see what happens. Mm-hmm. The story's both really lighthearted and heavy at the same time. What's it called? It goes into some of the dreams for some of the main characters. Like, the whole premise, without spoiling it, is basically Tanjiro, the main character, and the other four main characters with him are tasked with going on this train because since this train has been running, 40 people have just mysteriously disappeared on it.
All right.
So, a lot of people are like, oh, this, the Hashiras, the top of the Demon Slayer Corporation, is like, yeah, this is probably the work of like a really powerful demon. We need to go get this checked out. So they go and send them over there, and it's one of the 12 Kizuki, the 12 moons, which are like the 12 most powerful demons besides like the top dog of them all, which is basically Demon Michael Jackson. That's not a joke. He literally just looks like Michael Jackson. It's something else.
Well, which Michael Jackson?
In Thriller.
Okay.
But with just light skin. He just dressed exactly the same way. I think he even had a glove. It's fantastic.
Oh my god.
It's so good though. He is such a good villain. He is so intimidating. But in this one, it's a 12 Kizuki by the name of Enmu. And both in the English and the Japanese, his voice acting was the best in both movies. Like I said, really, really funny. They explored the subconscious dreams of all of the main characters. And then the fights are absolutely incredible. The ending made me cry in both the English and the Japanese. I think it was only worse in the Japanese because I feel like Japanese voice actors have this sense of emotion when it comes to their acting that a lot of the times American voice actors in anime can't capture. And it was just, there were certain things said and you can just feel like, ooh, that hurts. That hurts a lot. Absolutely incredible. It broke 21 million at the box office. It is the biggest opening for any foreign film on United States soil.
Wow.
And it is the highest grossing animated film, highest grossing foreign animated film for, I think besides America. I think that's the big one.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. I think I had talked to express my frustrations about people who watched the movie, who did not watch Demon Slayer or read the manga, and I'm just like, yeah, of course you would rate it this way because you have no idea what's going on because you didn't take the time to, get into this. But especially if you do know what's going on, it's very, very solid. From everyone else who has already read that part of the manga, they said it was not only a faithful rendition, but it was actually better because they added certain things.
Yeah.
If you have seen Demon Slayer, the show, I 100% recommend it. Go and watch the movie. If you haven't seen Demon Slayer, the show, go watch the show and then watch the movie because both are fantastic. And I'm just really excited it's getting a second season.
I don't know, Vince. IGN only gave it a 7, though.
Yeah, they're clearly the most reliable gaming rating system out there.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Look, if anything in IGN gets below an 8, that's worrying. It either means the reviewer doesn't know anything, or it was really absolutely bad, dude.
I think it's for this one. It's the first one, my guy.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Okay.
But yeah, 100% recommend it. It was fantastic, really funny, really heartwarming, really heartbreaking. Visuals were great. Even the 3D CG wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Because usually that's where Japan struggles. But it was actually pretty solid for all things considered. So, recommend it. Go watch it. Take your time to go do it.
Nice. We'll see how long you poison me to watch that show.
Well, we still need to finish Attack on Titan first.
We still also need to finish Cowboy Bebop.
Yes, we do. But that's the one that we're watching with Brian.
You're right.
So, Brian, if you listen to this one, we all got to start hanging out again so we can finish that one up.
Yeah.
Because that is actually fantastic, and we can talk about that one too.
Yes.
But,
yes.
All right, cool. Now on to your favorite segment. I know it is.
Oh, boy. Is it the life and times of one Fred Durst?
Yes, of Frederick Durst. Was it? Yeah, it was Frederick. Sorry. It wasn't Frederick.
Forget what Fred was short for?
No, because remember, we had this conversation last time where I'm like, Fredward as a joke.
Oh, yeah.
And that's an actual name.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones that I was waiting to show you, but I decided that I'm going to talk about it in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, he got a bit too into station wagons.
Like the car?
Yeah. So what do you do when you want to open up a new Instagram account, but you sat at home twiddling your thumbs because you and your band aren't up to much. Well, if you're Fred Durst a few years ago, you post a lot of pictures of station wagons. Like, a lot. The first few photos were simply captioned with days of the week. He had really given up. But then he branched out into writing random things like, it's late, ... we shouldn't. And Nirvana lyrics, forever in your debt to priceless advice.
What?
Over 20 photos of station wagons can still be viewed on Fred's Instagram.
So this is just on his regular account, like not on...
Yeah. It's
Why?
It was just
like,
a phase he went through.
Where just station...
Look, you're asking this about a man who started a 2-week juice fast and then gave up, cheated after 3 days, and then just decided to post station wagons. Like...
But of all cars, it's not like fancy sports cars. It's not like nice trucks. It's not even...
Oh my god.
I don't like...
no, it's even worse. Oh no.
Okay, I'm worried now.
Okay, so he has 54 pictures on his Instagram. Do you know how many of those pictures are literally just station wagons?
Like 54 images total on his entire account.
Yeah.
And how many of them are station wagons?
Yeah, can you guess?
Like what, 50?
It's all 54.
Oh my gosh.
Look at this.
Why?
I don't know. It's verified too. It's his real Instagram.
I like that the profile picture is also a station
It's
wagon.
also a station wagon. They have one specifically for oh god, are they coming out with another album? I hope not.
We still haven't found that secret album, dude.
I know. I don't know what this is. Do you know if this is a like a concert thing?
That looks like Def Leppard
Okay, thank
logo
God.
as Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, I saw the top thing, so I'm assuming that's that's probably some concert thing, right?
Probably.
I'm really hoping.
I imagine it's probably they're just going to be touring with Def Leppard.
That one's just weird. Like, it's 54 photos.
He didn't upload any explanation of just like why he's into station wagons all of a sudden.
No, and the last one he posted was March 3rd. That was a month
this
ago.
year.
Yes, that's
what was the caption on it?
Let me check. The Overlook Parade #wagon friendly.
What is that image? It's just a family.
Yeah, it's just a stock family from like the 1950s or
just
something.
around a station wagon.
It's only gonna get weirder from here, I promise.
Why?
I don't know.
Like I said, it's not even like that.
Oh, here's a good caption with that one. It has the
Let's
back
see,
of the station wagon.
Looks like the car Michael Myers escaped from Smith's Groves with, lol.
No, the one above it, it says to peach their own.
Oh gosh, that's a garbage pun.
Yeah, it is.
And it's just a photo of a station wagon in the rain.
Yeah, from the back. Like you're looking at its booty.
Yeah, but... What? He doesn't have any songs about station wagons.
No! The best part is the one after that is just 3 Santa emojis. With a red... Yeah.
What is going on with this man? Like,
I don't know!
somebody check up on him.
Yeah, it's real, dude. Fred Durst, if you're listening to this, man, one, we would love to have you on the podcast. I know that you started one of your own that I'm going to talk about eventually.
Oh.
You're going to like that one.
Oh,
I have to
boy.
find the audio for that.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, get some help, my brother. We all need it.
We're here for you.
We are. I'm here for you. I don't know if Richard's here for you, but I'm here for you.
I'm here to watch you.
Keep your hands away. Keep your hands away. Okay, so for the first time in this podcast's history, I think this is this is the first one that I think we planned ahead of time. Second, probably.
A little bit, yeah.
So I suggested this one, I think last week, and we decided to run with it.
Yeah. I mean, we had it on our list a while ago, but we finally committed to doing it this week.
Yes. I've been wanting to do this one because I always find it fascinating. But I think as you know...
Given how we've been documenting... Everything about Fred Durst.
Yeah.
I would imagine this would be one that we would have had to have done sooner or later.
Yeah. So as you know, Richard, one of my favorite things is, looking upon history. Mm-hmm. I think at one point, I don't know if you're still there, you wanted to be a history teacher as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to be doing a special segment today called Weird History. Yes. Not like the group Weird History.
There's a group called Weird History?
Yeah, they actually do this kind of stuff. But it's just like weird things in history that happened that were just like, oh, that's a bit,
Yeah. We're really original here, dude. No one has ever done this concept before.
No, I mean, yeah, but I've wanted to do this one because I think it's funny.
Yeah. I tried to avoid doing things that I know other people have covered. So I specifically looked up certain tales and things and stuff. So, history is kind of all about learning from the past and its mistakes. Today we're just
repeating.
I don't know if we're going to learn anything, but
it feels like, yeah. We're probably not. You're probably going to learn some new history facts, but
yep.
They're not going to be beneficial. It's just going to be really funny.
Yep.
All right, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Wild Wild West and not the film with Will Smith.
I love that movie despite how awful it is. It's so bad. But
what are you talking about? When the giant spider bot comes on, that was a very powerful moment.
I remember watching a documentary on that, and that was not supposed to be in the movie. But
who could have guessed?
Yeah, clearly.
So I looked up some fun tales about the Wild West. I enjoy cowboys and things, hence why I actually play Red Dead Online, because if you don't like cowboys, there is no reason to play it. Yep. Which is thankfully why many of the Chinese have abandoned that game and gone just back to GTA to hack and ruin everyone's day.
Yep.
So, in the Wild West, I found some great stories. I don't think we'll go through all 20 of the ones that I found. But here we go. I'll put the links to these if I listen to this specific part when I'm editing. But now that I can speed edit, I don't have to listen to the entire podcast anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see if I remember, or if I just have to have you, when you listen to these when they get uploaded, and say, hey, you didn't put a link for this.
Yeah, I do tend to listen to all of these, so.
So, first one we have here is about the failed bandit Elmer McCurdy. So, Elmer McCurdy, he was a highwayman. In 1911, he tried to rob a passenger train. He thought it had thousands of dollars. It had $46. After stealing this $46, he was promptly shot by lawmen. And you'd think that'd be a nice short story about a man who was just a terrible bandit. But no, because this man's corpse had a far more interesting life than he ever did. So his corpse was unclaimed after it was shot by the lawmen. It was embalmed with arsenic, and it was sold by an undertaker, to a traveling carnival and exhibited as a sideshow curiosity. So they just literally had an embalmed corpse that they would just show at this carnival. As
so he was more famous after death than he was in life. Yeah. That's depressing.
Now it gets better.
Oh, God.
Because he died in 1911. But for the next 60 years or so, his body was bought and sold by various haunted houses and wax museums for use as a prop or attraction. And so at a certain point, people are like, this is probably just a wax figure, right?
Oh, no.
His corpse finally wound up in Long Beach, California, amusement park funhouse. Or in a Long Beach, California amusement park funhouse. During filming there in 1976 for the TV show The $6 Million Man. When the prop's finger or arm, depending on the account, broke off, revealing human tissue. Subsequent testing by the LA coroner's office revealed the prop was actually McCurdy. He was buried at the famous Boot Hill Cemetery in Dodge City, Kansas, 66 years after his death. So what a mighty man, Elmer McCurdy. He was a pretty bad bandit, but his corpse made a pretty good prop. So
That's a
nice historical footnote. Don't rob trains. I don't think that's much of an issue anymore, but make sure your will is secured so you don't end up embalmed and as a prop on the $6 Million Man of all shows.
That's kind of depressing, honestly. That's super depressing.
Yep.
That's, oh my gosh.
So I'll pass it off to you for a story.
Okay. So I wanted to actually touch on what is probably one of the longest wars in history. Have you ever heard of this war? The Dutch Scilly War, as in Scilly.
I have not.
So,
Thought you were going to talk about like the 100 Years' War.
no, guess how long this one lasted.
You said one of the longest. You know what? I'll take a shot and just go with 100 years.
335 years.
All right.
So this is why. So the Dutch Scilly War lasted 335 years,
All
but
right.
it had no battles and no deaths. Spanning between 1651 to 1986, the war was a byproduct of the English Civil War and the decision of the Dutch to side with the parliamentarians over the royalists.
Wait, okay, so I know exactly what event they are talking about that started this because I've taken a lot of English history.
They declared war
They declared war.
and then forgot to undeclare it.
So, wait, who declared war on who, given the situation? Because,
The Dutch.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I can give the backstory to this. Basically,
Please do.
Basically, with the English, a whole lot of problems had happened. The way that I always remember it is that there was James the First, Charles the First.
James Charles the First.
No, James the First, Charles the First. And then after that, there was a nice little man in between named Oliver Cromwell who stopped the monarchy for 11 years or so. Went nuts. That's a whole other issue. Monty Python has a song about him.
Yeah.
But Oliver Cromwell was a person who said, I am not a king, and then proceeded to do everything a king would do and instill rules as a king.
That's what you do.
Yeah. And so after that, they brought back in Charles again. This is Charles II. And then they said nope, and then they're getting James II. So it was James, Charles, James. And then after that, we get William of Orange. And William of Orange, everyone was sick of all the Catholics and sick of a lot of civil infighting, as was mentioned, because you can find out looking up videos and things about everyone hating the Catholics in England and going back and forth on whether Catholics are cool or not.
Yeah.
And whether or not we want people in charge of us to be Catholic. And so it's called the Peaceful Revolution, I believe. It's like the Peaceful Revolution or something like that. And so James flees the country peacefully. William of Orange is brought in because we we want a Protestant guy in charge, so we're kind of sick of James being Mr. Catholic over here. And they bring in William of Orange, Orange being the place in, I almost said Normandy, in Netherlands, where he was from, where he ruled. But I guess apparently that started a 330-year war.
Yeah, so this is what happened, right? So the Dutch turn up because the Royalists had raided a few Dutch shipping vessels in revenge.
The Royalists were those who were still in support of good old Catholic James II.
Yep.
And didn't want him leaving and didn't want the William of Orange to take the throne.
Yeah. The Dutch turned up, demanding reparations from the royalists, and when they didn't pay up, they declared war. But then they decided to call it a day and go home, pretty sharpish as they realized that the royalists, they didn't have any money.
Yeah, the Royalists were very few because, again, they're the Catholics in England, which is not a large group of people and not a very popular group of people. Mm-hmm. They were also known as the Jacobins, or not the Jacobins, the Jacobites, something like that, because Jacob James, hence supporting him.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't have money. They were, well, they had some money, but not enough that would have justified anything in berating them.
Well, so this is the best part because they declared war against the Isles, right? Against the Loyalists.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of forgot that they were at war. So up until 1986, someone's like, hold on, let me look at this. And then they realized that technically speaking, both nations were still at war.
They had been trading for centuries. Cooperating, signing everything while technically...
But no one ever made an official declaration of peace.
All right.
So technically speaking, it was 355 years. It was 335. 335 years.
Wow, that's interesting.
I have something that I think you would like. Do you know who Robert Liston is?
Probably. Name sounds familiar.
So he is basically known for his abilities in surgery before anesthetics.
Oh, then I think I do know.
So he was basically a speed surgeon.
Yes, I think I know the story. When you said that word right there, wow, I do know this story, I believe.
He is the only surgeon in history to have a 300% mortality rate from working on one patient.
Yes, I do know this story.
I remember reading this and I was like, wait, hold on, 300%? That's one, there's only one person like involved in one surgery. How did that happen? And then I read the whole thing and I was like, oh, yeah. Okay. So apparently this man was so fast that he sometimes inadvertently got others involved.
Yes.
So sorry, it's just incredible.
He sawed through in what, like 2 or 3 minutes or something?
Yes, he was known as the fastest knife in the West. And I don't think that was meant as a compliment. All things considered. He was a pioneer in speed surgery. When performing a battlefield amputation in front of a group of spectators, Liston cut through his patient's leg so quickly that he accidentally cut the fingers off the man who was helping him. One man who witnessed the surgery collapsed and died of a heart attack. Then Liston's patient and his assistant died of blood poisoning from their joint amputation, making him the only surgeon in history to have a 300% mortality rate. He worked on one guy. One guy saw what was going on, had a heart attack from it because his brain could not process what was happening. And then his assistant and his patient accidentally swapped blood because he just cut.
Yeah.
And they get blood poisoning from it and die. Like, how...
I mean, to be fair, if you witnessed that surgery, would you not have also been like...
I probably would have barfed or passed out. Yeah, it would have been awful. But how do you manage to go from netting that?
I mean, it's a lesson learned, measure twice, cut once.
That's for construction. But I suppose it works here.
I mean, if he measured...
I'm the fastest hand in the West.
I mean,
that makes me wonder, like, how fast was he moving? Like,
I mean, it takes me a little while to saw through wood.
Oh gosh, dude! But how did he manage to saw through someone's fingers like that? Like, did he just?
I mean, to be fair, a finger's pretty thin compared to a leg or an arm or whatever he was amputating. And so I'm sure he's like going at it with the force of I gotta chug through this arm, through this ligaments, through all of this, and a finger's just gonna like fall
it's gonna
off
go
at
right
that
through
point.
You can technically bite your own fingers off, no problem.
Yeah.
But luckily our brain tells us no.
Yep.
Is there something you want to share? Because I have something I think you're gonna really like.
I'm worried. I got another good one.
Here,
this one's more intense than propping up a corpse as decoration.
That's still so sad, man. F in the chat. That's awful.
So this one is good creepypasta material, I would say.
Ooh, okay. That you got my attention.
So this one, I'm sure, has been used as inspiration for horror films. So in 1870, a man was making his way through the lonely mountains of New Mexico when he came across a stout wood cabin tucked at the foot of the Palo Flachado Pass. The owner introduced himself as Charles Kennedy and invited his new acquaintance inside for a meal. As Kennedy's Ute wife served dinner, the traveler sat next to the couple's young son and asked if there were other Indians nearby. The boy looked back at him for a moment, then answered, "Can't you smell the one Papa put under the floor?" Yeah, that was the wrong thing to say because the traveler had stumbled into the lair of the West, one of the West's most notorious killers. Charles Kennedy killed at least 14 people. At least 14. That's how many we know he killed. Who stopped at his isolated homestead on their way through the pass. And so after shooting the traveler, because, you know, you can't let that slide.
Yeah, of course.
You also got to kill the son, so he beat his son to death.
That's so sad.
And the murder of the son was too much for the wife, who slipped out while the husband was drunk, walked into Elizabethtown nearby, and made the confession. And after unearthing the grisly evidence, the townsfolk dragged Kennedy behind a horse until he died, and then staked his severed head outside the local inn.
Okay.
So yeah, that one was crazy. I mean, can you imagine you're just like going through a town, stopping at a local house saying, "Hey, mind if I stay here for a meal?"
Imagine being the father, and then your narc of a son just casually doles out your profession to this random stranger.
There's the joke that I think we are both aware of that I'm not going to make because it's not a appropriate joke. But I'll type it out for you.
My brain is trying to rack it right now, and I'm trying to think of which one it would be.
But it's a good joke. But anyway, I'll pass the
You can pass it to me after.
proverbial torch off to you for your next story because you said it was a doozy.
I don't think it's a doozy, but I think you'll like this one. So, in medieval England, the word ask...
All right. I've typed it out now. Just...
It's the same vein. It's the same vein. We can't... Yeah, no, we can't say that one. That's a good one, though.
Anyway, back to your story.
Okay, so in medieval England, the word ask was actually pronounced axe. This pronunciation of the word was even featured in the English translation of the Bible. Axe, and it shall be given to you. So that's not Ebonics. That's literally just old English. Can I ask you a question? Is just reminds proper old English.
It just reminds me of the stupid Futurama trope or running gag where axe had replaced it. So it just kind of came full circle, I guess, then.
Yeah, so Futurama's brilliantly written, though. So I'm pretty sure that they knew, everything for that. Here's a fun one. During World War I, the French built a fake Paris, complete with a duplicate Champs-Élysées, I don't know how to pronounce French, and Gare du Nord.
Garbage language.
This fake Paris was built by the French towards the end of World War I. It was built as a means of throwing off German bombers and fighter pilots flying over French skies.
To be fair, deception as a tactic like that has been used forever.
Yeah.
But one of my favorites... rivaling that is the fact that they had inflatable like tanks and stuff that England would make
Yeah.
to post on the shores to make it look like they had much bigger forces than they actually had.
Yeah.
But it was just inflatable tanks and ships and cargo that they had just spread out all over the coast of England.
That's actually pretty great. I think you know that the thing that I think spurred this one on for me is just remembering Caligula,
Yes.
Roman Emperor Gaius. Did you know that not only did he stab the sea to get revenge, I think was it Poseidon or Neptune? I think it was Neptune, right?
Poseidon's the Greek name.
And then so it would be Neptune.
Because the thing is, basically, the Romans copied everything the Greeks did and incorporated the religion and then said, no, it's different. We gave them different names.
Yeah, the Romans are very good at that in general, though.
Although, to be fair, while they did basically copy it, I mean, basically every pagan mythology has, like, the rain god, the sun god, the god of the ocean. They just kind of did the exact same thing as the Greeks, kind of. So.
Yeah. But that's the best part. So not only did he attempt to stab the ocean to get back at the god of the sea, he also made one of his favorite horses a senator. The emperor loved his horse named Ignatius so much that he gave him a marble stall, an ivory manger, a jeweled collar, and even a house. Caligula also allegedly planned to make his trusty steed consul before his assassination. So that's like the first recorded furry in history, right? Caligula? I think we can agree on that, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean...
Probably not, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the... Because consul is the Republic equivalent of, like, president, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's just like saying that I'm going to, imagine Joe Biden retires and just names his horse as, all right, this is who's taking over.
There's a joke there, but I'm not saying it because I want to keep politics out of this. But...
Yeah, I know the exact joke, and I think anyone listening will make that joke. But yeah.
All right, you go ahead and share.
All right, this one, we got another crazy guy. So we have Felipe Espinosa.
Ah, one of my kind.
Yes, and you'll see you don't want to identify him.
I already don't. Can I say that?
I don't care.
I don't
It's your
care.
words.
Yeah.
So he was a petty criminal who deeply resented the movement of Anglo-American settlers into 19th century Colorado. So he was a fanatical member of the Penitentes, a local Catholic brotherhood known for whipping themselves bloody and performing acts of self-mutilation.
Oh, there's a word for that. I forget what it's called.
I mean, they were called the Penitentes.
I know, but I mean that kind of self-inflicting. I forget what it's called.
I don't know, Catholics.
Especially back then, yeah. They were something else, man.
So when American soldiers tried to arrest him for banditry, he declared his own personal war on the Protestant interlopers. And for him, that meant, I'm going to try and do some genocide, boys. Accompanied by his brother Vivian and his later nephew Jose, Felipe roamed through the mountains of Colorado, slaughtering every Anglo he came across. Some of the bodies were found with a cross carved into their chest. Felipe wrote taunting letters to the governor, telling him to inquire if anyone had ever killed as many men as the Espinosas. We have killed 32. Despite a massive manhunt which killed Vivian Espinosa, Felipe remained elusive. In a letter to his wife, he boasted, "They have hands and cannot touch me. They have feet and cannot catch me. They have eyes and cannot hear me. They have ear..." I think that's a typo. "They have eyes and cannot see me" is what I assume they meant to put, because that would make sense. "They have ears and cannot hear me." The desperate government finally hired the famed mountain man Tom Tobin, who tracked Felipe and Jose Espinosa through the Sangre de Cristos and personally killed both in a bloody battle near the summit of Mount Mestas.
Ironic. That is extremely ironic. He got killed at the blood of Christ.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
Talk about irony.
Tobin then returned to Fort Garland and collected his bounty by dumping Felipe Espinosa's severed head in front of the shocked colonel who had hired him.
Dang. You know, that's the crazy thing. People like the Brown Berets would probably revere a man like that.
Yeah.
But murder is bad, no matter what race you hate.
Yeah. But it just goes to show that everybody was racist, both ways, every way back then.
It's still the same.
Yeah.
It's just all on Twitter now.
Yeah. Right.
We call it white guilt. So I have a really fun one that has to do with it just as equally repulsive people.
All right.
The Luftwaffe had a master interrogator, Hans Schroff, whose tactic was being as nice as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Schroff's best tactic for getting information out of the prisoners included nature walks without guards present, baking them homemade food, cracking jokes, drinking beers, and afternoon tea with German fighter aces. Now, hearing all of these very brutal tactics, how successful do you think this man was?
You'd have to imagine that there was some degree of success.
His techniques were so successful that the U.S. military later incorporated his methods into their own interrogation schools. He did so well with this method. The freaking CIA and FBI probably have those interrogation tactics down pat.
So we can thank him for Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah. It's all propaganda. It's actually really nice.
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They just want to make it look intimidating, you know? That's...
Got it.
This is going to be the episode that gets us in trouble, isn't it?
We have no intents of committing suicide?
No. No.
Because the CIA really listens to this podcast.
We both have FBI agents. Steve, if you're listening, I love you, buddy.
All right. So this one, I think I'll finish off my final Wild West story with feral camels that once roamed the plains of Texas.
Camels?
So I had heard about this one before doing the research today. But yes, camels.
Camels.
So,
Okay.
I mean, when you think about it, it'll make sense. So, one of the wackier ideas in American history, the U.S. Camel Corps, was established in 1856 at Camp Verde, Texas.
Okay.
Reasoning that the arid Southwest looked a lot like the deserts of Egypt, the Army imported 66 camels from the Middle East. Despite the animals' more objectionable qualities, they spat, regurgitated, and defied orders. The experiment was generally deemed a success. As the Civil War broke out, exploration of the frontier was curtailed and Confederates captured Camp Verde. After the war, most of the camels were sold, some to Ringling Brothers Circus, and others escaped into the wild. The last reported sighting of a feral camel came out of Texas in 1941. Presumably, no lingering descendants of the Camel Corps members remain alive today. So, I mean, it's just like thinking, you know, for thousands of years they used camels in the Middle East. Let's bring some over here and use them. As well, we do have extinct camels that were discovered up in Canada. So we know that camels did survive here for a while. Because a lot of the techniques that help you survive into the desert also help you survive into the snow. So there's also camels that used to live in Canada until all the tribes went and hunted them down to extinction.
That's actually pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. So if you see a wild camel out there, you can know who to thank. It was the U.S. Camel Corps.
It reminds me of the fact that, what is it, the CIA with the dolphins?
Yes, yes.
That's kind of what it reminds me of.
I mean, technically the Navy does use dolphins to detect bombs.
Yeah, but...
And they still use them to detect bombs, but there are other experiments with dolphins that you can find that were done that were less successful and less moral.
Yeah, I know. I think they were doing the same thing with otters, if I'm not mistaken. But
oh gosh,
yeah, the United States government be wilding though. I think we can affirm that.
Yep.
I'll end it on this one with a presidential fact.
Ooh.
So, as we know, Abraham Lincoln was one of the greatest presidents to have ever lived.
Yep.
Not only was he the president during one of the most harrowing times in our nation's history.
Yep.
He was also a certified bartender. who owned his own bar,
Mm-hmm.
and that bar went under after the local drunk ended up drinking practically all the alcohol in one night.
I did know this story.
On top of that, he is also one of the most accomplished, for lack of a better term, like a collegiate wrestler
Yes.
in history
Yes.
with 300 matches and specifically one loss. And to him, it's been attributed that he is the one who created the choke slam that professional wrestling uses today.
And that's why he's your favorite president, huh?
Yeah, dude. He's 6'4", 200 pounds. Can you imagine this president picking you up
Yeah.
for a choke slam? That would have been so scary.
To be fair, he was very thin.
Yes.
He was a nimble man in wrestling.
Yes. The other thing is he is also one of the greatest comeback artists as a president. You know,
Yes.
someone, I think a woman had called him out during his time during the Civil War, and she had called him two-faced. And he had just retorted, "Ma'am, if I was two-faced, do you honestly think I would be wearing this one?" He's just fantastic.
He had very self-deprecating humor.
Yes.
That was what he was very famous for. I would argue that Churchill had better comebacks, though.
No, yeah. Churchill, the prostitute one is probably still my favorite one.
Many of Churchill's comebacks are fantastic. But yes. Anyway, I think we'll call it there. We had a good many stories. We'll find some more. Keep the series going alive for a little while.
Yeah.
And do very original things with it.
It'll be a lot of fun, I think.
Yes. I'll have to get a theme or something where we go into weird history and just put a musical sting somewhere.
Yeah, we can do weird history, but for specific countries. Or
There
a
we go.
specific genre, not a genre, but a subject. Of
Next
history.
time we'll do Yugoslavia.
I'll do it. I'm down. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Until next time.